Hello and welcome to Reactive Terrain, where we're going to be breaking down Frankenstein and kind of see what's going on inside this mishmash of parts. So let's start with the frame first. This is the Endura buggy frame that they kind of brought up a few months back. I did have a little bit of an issue with it. It snapped at both shock mount areas, so I ended up having to do a kind of a DIY repair on both sides, but that seems to have strengthened it up quite well, so I'm quite happy with that. That worked really well. It's actually running a full Rampcrab setup. I've got the longest ones they supply on the rear, 61s and 68s, I think. Yeah, 68.5s. And on the front, I'm running a 39s and 51s. And I'm really happy with their gear, actually. Their rear axles and front axles are really nicely machined. I did get a slight issue with the drive shafts on the front. However, they did replace them pretty much straight away, which was really cool of them. Endura deep dish wheels and these Endura mud tyres, the mud terrain tyres. I actually really like these as well. Not overly sticky. I have to say I'm not a big fan of really sticky tyres, but you know, these things work really well. And it's just a stock foam. I haven't modified the foam or anything like that in them. I'm running the Rampcrab telescopic shocks as well, shocks and springs. Again, they're really nice. The only thing I find with telescopics is they need to be relatively vertical for them to really kind of function quite nicely. But these are working all right. You know, these work quite well. Give me, you know, a good amount of flex. You know, I'm probably getting, I guess you guys all measure it in tires, probably a good 3 to 4 tires worth of flex before I kind of get the rear lifting off. I have got a bit of I have got some weights on the rear, brass weights on the rear. I got brass hubs which come with the Rampcrab front axle, and I've also got a brass diff cover. The Rampcrab servo, again, it's all right. You know, it's 13. I think it's 1.13 grams. So 13 grams digital servo. Not the biggest you can get, but it works all right. You know, I haven't had any issues with it. It steers relatively quick. You struggle with kind of getting it at full lock anyway, because the axles will just bind up. I have actually broken a few shafts that way. I'm running the steel Rampcrab drive shafts as well, or prop shafts. Haven't had any real issues with them. They kind of run really well. The only thing I did have issue, I haven't actually got it on this, it's on another truck. I did have a slight issue with the Rampcrab gearbox mount. I did actually have to file away slightly just to get these, and it was only one side, so they obviously had a machine issue one side, just to make sure that these located actually in. It was an easy fix. It's aluminium, so you know, a file and job done. The ASC is a stock axle one that's actually burnt out. The speed controller side of it doesn't work anymore. That was a one off a second-hand rig I brought. I'm running a 1/18 brushless speed controller, and then some funky weird drone motor that I picked up cheap off Amazon. It's far too long, really. I mean, it does stick out quite far. However, I wanted to experiment with it because I kind of wanted to see how the weight transfer worked on the front end, so bringing the weight over a little bit more, and that seemed to work really well. FMS batteries off of the Power Wagon. I actually really like these. They just just give you a little bit longer play time. So one of the reasons why I'm kind of just giving a quick rig breakdown on this is as I'm actually about to tear it down and put some new parts on it, which I really kind of, at the moment, it's set up for crawling, and I really want a rock bouncer. So I've really got to try and fine tune it to really get that rock bouncer feel and performance out of it. Oh, I've grabbed a few more parts. So I'm going to kind of really just change a few bits up and take all the gubbins out of it. I'm actually going to put a 55 turn enduro motor in there, the purple one. I've got some RC four-wheel drive red 4-link arms where the shocks actually mount kind of 3/4 of the way up the rear arms. I've got some different wheels coming, so I want some bead locks on it, so it has a much more realistic look to it. But overall, this actually works fantastically well. It's weighing in at about 430 grams, and actually I really like that kind of weight for these things. They do really work really well at that weight. It tore up the course really well on our first competition. Yeah, so overall, not a bad little rig, even if it is a mishmash of parts, hence its name, Frankenstein. Guys, I will post a video up once I've finished kind of swapping all the parts out and adding some new bits and see what I've changed. But yeah, overall, I have to say I'm quite impressed with Rampcrab's hardware. It's machined well, it looks well, it does the job. Overall, not bad hardware at all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.